John Ramirez is a well-known Christian author, speaker, and evangelist who publicly shares his life story of transformation. He is widely recognized for his testimony of moving from a past deeply involved in occult and gang culture in New York City to becoming a devoted follower of Christ. To many, he represents the possibility of radical change, moving from darkness into purpose. And he uses his experiences to encourage others to seek healing, faith, and freedom. John Ramirez lived as a high-ranking servant of darkness. Please watch his videos on YouTube. Deep, he went into the dark, but how completely God pulled him out. As a young man, he began searching for power, identity, and meaning. That search led him into witchcraft, Santeria, and eventually into what he describes as the highest levels of satanic practice in New York City. In his own words, John says, "I wasn't playing games, I wasn't pretending. I was trained, I was disciplined. I learned how to open portals. I learned how to speak curses. I learned how to send demons on assignment. I didn't believe in God, but I absolutely believed in the devil." According to John, the spiritual world is not symbolic. It is real. He describes nights of rituals, blood covenants, astral projection, and demonic encounters. He claims he was tasked with targeting churches, pastors, and neighborhoods, releasing darkness over cities. He says something chilling. Satan doesn't need people to believe in him. He just needs them to ignore God. John explains that darkness thrives in secrecy. It hides behind entertainment, horoscopes, tarot cards, New Age practices. What many see as trends, he says, are doorways. For years, John lived immersed in this world. He had influence, power, respect. Fear followed his name. But something began to break through. He started hearing the name Jesus in unexpected places. On the street, in conversations. Then one night, everything changed. John recounts being in his apartment when he suddenly felt overwhelmed, paralyzed by fear. "I had faced demons. I had commanded spirits. I had walked in darkness my whole life. But that night I felt exposed, like something greater had entered the room." He says a presence filled the space, not terror, not oppression, authority. "And I heard it in my spirit, 'John, I love you.' No ritual ever told me I was loved. No demon ever cared about me. But this voice, it knew me." In that moment, the man who once mocked God realized something terrifying and beautiful. The darkness he served was real. But it was not supreme. There was a higher power, a greater king. I realized Satan had lied to me my whole life. He promised power. He gave me chains. But Jesus showed me truth, and I saw that every demon I served bowed to his name. John says the spiritual battle was violent. He describes nights of torment, fear, and resistance as he tried to leave the world he once ruled in. Darkness does not release its servants easily, but he cried out, "Jesus, if you are real, save me." And he says, heaven responded. Chains broke, nightmares stopped, oppression lifted. For the first time, John slept in peace. He burned his occult objects. He walked away from rituals. He severed ties with the past. He traded power for surrender. And what he found was not weakness, it was freedom. The devil had me thinking God was boring, weak, distant. But when I met Jesus, I met fire. I met authority. I met love that crushed darkness. John Ramirez has said that the underworld he lived in was not symbolic. It was structured, organized, funded. In multiple interviews, John claims that spiritual assignments were treated like business contracts. There were people who didn't want to get their hands dirty. They didn't want to pull a trigger. They wanted the spiritual side handled. They believed that if a curse worked, it would look like an accident, a heart attack, a breakdown, a suicide, something no one could trace. John has spoken about a time when, according to him, a man approached the occult network with a large sum of money. He says the amount was $10,000, not for a hitman, not for a weapon, but for a spiritual contract. They said, "We don't want blood on our hands, we want it done in the spirit." And in that world, that meant rituals, blood covenants, and assignments to demonic forces. John explains that in those circles, money was exchanged not just for influence, but for destruction. He claims these contracts were believed to result in illness, collapse, or death without visible cause. He tells a story about using witchcraft to influence a legal outcome. He describes a case involving someone facing serious charges. The family, desperate for a way out, turned to the occult. They didn't ask for justice. They asked for interference. They wanted confusion, delay, anything that would shift the outcome. He claims rituals were performed specifically targeting judges, lawyers, witnesses, the courtroom atmosphere. We released spirits of chaos, spirits of distraction, spirits of division. The goal was disruption. John says the case unraveled in ways no one expected. Paperwork vanished. Testimonies conflicted. Key moments fell apart. This testimony reveals how real and active spiritual forces are in shaping everyday life. Many of the struggles people face, confusion, cycles of loss, unexplained resistance, constant setbacks, are not merely natural occurrences. They are often the result of unseen manipulation, operating behind the scenes. Yet this is not a message of fear. There is a supreme power that far exceeds every force of darkness. God is not only able to expose these manipulations, but He is also able to shield us from them. His authority does not compete with darkness, it overrides it. Those who walk in awareness and alignment with God are not defenseless. They are guarded, guided, and empowered. The Spirit of God becomes a shield, a compass, and a fortress. When a person lives only on the surface of faith, they remain vulnerable. But when they dwell in intimacy with God, they begin to discern what others cannot see and stand where others fall. In that place, manipulation gives way to authority, confusion to clarity, and fear to dominion. Darkness may be active in the world, but it is never supreme. The highest power belongs to God, and those who abide in Him live under a covering that no demonic force can penetrate. According to this perspective, there are two kinds of spiritual forces, demonic and divine. One is destructive, used to manipulate, control, and destroy. The other is restorative, used to build, heal, and bring life. Though spirits do not belong to the physical realm, through partnership with people, they are invited into the world of the living. In this framework, there are two kinds of human beings. Those who are aware of the spiritual realm and understand its power, whether demonic or divine, and those who are ignorant of it, believing that only what is visible exists. And among humanity, there are three distinct paths. The one who engages with demonic spirits for demonic advantage, the one who engages with divine spirit for divine advantage, the one who remains ignorant, blind to spiritual realities, and therefore vulnerable. As John Ramirez explains, demonic forces are often used to manipulate events so to appear natural sickness, suicide, accidents, collapse, even the derailment of court cases. To the unaware, these seem like ordinary misfortunes, but behind them are spiritual influence. The one who wields demonic power can dominate the ignorant. However, they cannot overcome the person who engages with divine power. This person dwells in the highest authority and surpasses them all. So the question becomes personal. Where do you stand? Are you the ignorant, open to manipulation and destruction disguised as normal life? Are you the destroyer or divine one? The choice defines how you live. I was once among the ignorant, blind to spiritual realities. That blindness left me vulnerable. I was controlled, marginalized, and afflicted by one who operated in darkness. I came close to losing my life. Then my eyes were opened. I crossed from ignorance into awareness, from vulnerability into authority. I shifted to the divine side, where power is not used to destroy, but to restore. In this place, dark forces are no longer masters. They are silenced. They bow. They obey. The one who walks in divine alignment carries authority that demonic activity cannot overcome. John Ramirez's testimony is a real-life case study. It is not intended as a religious message, even though it is rooted in the Christian faith. Its purpose is to speak to everyone, regardless of belief. It reveals the realities of the world we live in and how human beings engage with spiritual forces to influence outcomes in everyday life. This message is for the ignorant one, the one who believes everything is random, that suffering is only coincidence. Wake up before it is too late. Ignorance leaves you exposed and it allows destruction to masquerade as normal life. But awareness brings power. Alignment with the divine brings protection, authority, and life. You do not have to remain blind. You do not have to remain vulnerable. We have created an online community, a place for the serious-minded, those who feel there is more to life than what they have been shown, and who are willing to grow in awareness and strength, a place where these deeper truths can be shared responsibly and safely. It will be a private space for those who are truly seeking understanding, growth, and freedom, a place where sensitive spiritual matters can be addressed without distortion, mockery, or danger. There are levels to revelation. There are depths that require preparation. Not everyone is ready for what lies beneath the surface. In that community, there will be Q&A and 1-to-1 sessions with the Prophet. He will speak more openly about the hidden realities many are battling without knowing it.